Hey guys, so this is a kind of new topic we're going to be learning today. You might have heard of some of these terms before, and some of them might be new to you, but let's just hop right into it. So today we're going to be working on points, lines, and planes. A point is exactly what you might think it would be. It's a place in space that has an exact location. So for instance, if you go to Google Maps and type in the address for Aui, this red arrow right here represents that point in space. So you draw a point by drawing a dot, and it's really just as simple as that, alright? Now if you have multiple points, you have to label them with a capital letter like capital A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth, so that if someone asks you about a point, you know which point they're talking about. This is going to be especially important later on. A line is a straight path that goes on and on in opposite directions forever. Lines don't have a start or an end, however, they are made up of infinite points. That means that even though a line goes on forever, you can still name a point or an exact location on a line. At this point in your life, you've probably drawn a line somewhat like this before. However, in geometry, in order to show that a line is in fact a line, you have to put little arrows on the end to show that the line will continue on forever. So, if you were to look out at the ocean during a beautiful sunset like this, and look out into the horizon, you would probably notice that there is a line there that seems to go on forever. However, we can name some points on that line like this. So this is point A on my line, and this is point B on my line, and I know it's a line because I have arrows on each side to show that they go on forever. Let's talk about now how we can give this line a name. We already talked about how we use capital letters to give points a name, and we showed that here. To give a line a name, you just need to take 2 points on that line like we drew here and take the names of those points. So we take point A here and point B here, and we write down the letters A, B next to each other, and right above those letters you will draw a mini line like this. So this is how you name a line. The mini line shows that you are talking about a line, and the letters tell us which line you're talking about because it lets us think, oh look, those are the points you wrote down, so you must be talking about this line right here. So this line would be called line AB. Now, sometimes you might have a pair of lines, and depending on how those lines interact with each other, they will have a special name. And there are 3 types of interaction, so let's look at the first one. So let's say you have 2 lines drawn next to each other like this. These 2 lines will never touch each other. They're going in the same direction right next to each other, but because there will always be the same amount of space between them, these lines will never intersect. Intersect means the same thing as crossed. So these 2 lines will never cross. If you have a pair of lines like this that don't intersect, you would say that those lines are parallel to each other. Now let's look at another pair of lines with a special name. This one is basically the opposite of the last one because these lines do cross. So if you have a pair of lines and they do something like this, where they cross each other at the same point, you would say that those are intersecting lines. Take it a step further. If you have a pair of intersecting lines, but they cross each other like this, so it looks like a plus sign, you can draw perfect little squares like this right here in each corner, you would say that those lines are perpendicular to each other. You can only say 2 lines are perpendicular to each other if 1, they intersect, and 2, you can draw a perfect little square in each corner. Now let's talk about planes. You probably haven't talked about planes before. It's out of the ones that fly in the sky, but these geometric planes are a lot different from those. So a plane in geometry is an endless flat surface. So what that means is that it's a flat surface that, kind of like a line, goes on forever and ever in all directions. So a plane would be something like this, a regular 4-sided polygon, and you can draw little arrows like this coming from each side to show that this is a small section of the plane, but it does go on forever and ever and has infinite length and width. So let's talk about how we would name a plane. In order to name a plane, all you have to do is pick 3 points anywhere on the plane. So for instance, I have my plane here, and I'll draw point A here, B here, and C here. And you can see that none of these points are on a line. They're just 3 random points that I could have put anywhere. Well, in order to name this plane, I would just write the word plane and then take the name of these points I drew on my plane and write the word next to the word plane. Okay, so this plane would be called plane A, B, C, and that's really all there is to it. So that's all, you guys. I know that this was a lot of information all at once, but I hope that it made sense to you. If you have any questions or if you're confused about anything on here, feel free to send me or Mr. Wade an email or message through Google Classroom. All right, you guys, have a good week.